Alright guys, picking up where we left off with the buttons. Remember, okay, so we've got this image and we've got these buttons, and now we want to actually write some JavaScript to do something with said things. So first we're going to jump back into our code here, and let's take a look at our blank JavaScript page. So definitely need to put some things in here. As always, we're going to start with our standard document.ready call, and really all we care about, we're just going to do some basic like navigation stuff, right? Like we just want to make our buttons do some stuff to some stuff. So we're going to write a function here called setNav, and I'm going to call it when the document loads. So let's see, so what do we care about? We care about our buttons, really. The only thing that really needs to be interactive on this page is our buttons. We just want to be able to click them and to hide and show our image divs. So let's write a little function to do that. It's real simple, actually. So button on click sounds like a sentence, right? On button on click, do this. And I'm going to write this as an anonymous function. It's something we're not in the habit of doing in class, but generally when you look at documentation, you see it this way. And this is really generally how I do it. In fact, I really have to think hard to do it another way. I think there's valid reasons to do both, but this is really what I'm in the habit of. And again, kind of what you'll see, I think, in most documentation. Anonymous function means that we're writing a function into the click event as opposed to on click, call function, and then write a separate function. So in this, we are going to do some stuff. Let's just do a quick console log so we can see that it's working. And we're going to put just the word click in there. And if we go to our page now, we can refresh, and if we click on one of our buttons, we're going to see, boom, click, 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 click. They both have the class of buttons, so they're not going to do anything different from one another. Right away, I can tell one thing that bugs me already is that we don't get a nice hand guy, little pointy guy on our styles there, so we're just going to throw that into our style sheet real quick. And that is cursor, remember we learned this one last week, cursor pointer, and save and refresh, and oh my god, isn't that so much more satisfying? But that's not all we want to do, right? We just don't want to console log things. We want to actually like do stuff to stuff. So in here, we're going to write a, let's see. We need to distinguish between our two buttons, right? We've got two buttons and we've got two images. And we've kind of named them here. I didn't talk about it at the time, but I named these a certain way on purpose, just to kind of make things simple for us. Notice that we have two images, one called 1993 JPEG, one called 2000 JPEG. And in our markup, we have ID 1993 and ID 2000. We could call those whatever we want, but either way, we're going to have to figure out, we're going to have to come up with a way of distinguishing which button is which, because each button has its own functionality associated with it, right? When we click 1993, we want to show the 1993 image. When we click the 2000 button, we want to show the 2000 image. So it's really easy to do with the ID, and that's what I'm going to show you here in the script as a way to just access that value. I'm going to write a variable, and the variable is going to equal, let's just call it item. Variable item equals, I'm going to use this amazing little piece of jQuery, or I guess JavaScript, called this. And this is really too complicated to explain, which is another way of saying I don't really completely understand all the things that this does, but this is one of its most probably useful applications, is that when you click on something, it's just this really nice way of passing the thing that you're clicking on and saying access like this thing that I've clicked on. Obviously the one I just clicked on, this is what I care about, so this being the div that I've clicked on is this. Get the text out of that, and that's what we're going to do here. So again, we're going to write a little console log just to show you what that does. Oops, not this, but item. So call that guy up, and when I click on the buttons now, I get, oh, 2000 and 1993. So pulling the text out of those, which is really nice because that's what they say, right? 1993 and 2000, and we happen to have two JPEGs, one called 1993 and one called 2000. So you can probably guess where this is headed. I will just show you one other thing though, because we talked about it, and I don't want to feel like I'm half-assing the explanation here. I don't want you to feel cheated. So I'm going to console log this just to actually show you what pops out with that. And it should be, I believe, just the markup for the div and kind of all its associated stuff. So there it is. You get just kind of some stuff. You get all this kind of well, you get basically all the stuff you can do with it. It's just like, I'm an object. Here's all of my properties and ways to access different things about me, which is actually pretty handy from time to time. So again, it's kind of complicated. I don't fully understand what this is, but literally what this is, but there's all sorts of stuff in there. But really, it's just a div and all its associated properties. In this case, the one we care about is text. So that's what we're spitting out. That's our item variable. And next, we're going to write a little simple kind of if statement, if else. So let's see. So if item happens to equal the string, remember it's a year, it looks like a number, but this is actually a string, so we don't want to treat it as a number, we want to put quotes around it. If item equals 1993, then we are going to fade out one image and we're going to fade the other one in. So let's go back and look at this real quick. We've got two images. Images are wrapped inside divs, so really we're just hiding the divs around the images. Remember, boxes inside of boxes. This is the picture, this is the frame. If you hide the frame, you hide the picture. So that's what we're going to target, is the div ID 2000, div ID 1993. We're not going to hide the image, we're not going to target the image because the image is actually contained in the surrounding div. So going back over here, we have item equals 1993, object 1993. We're going to use a really nice little function called fade out. This is one of the great things about jQuery, is it just has this stuff in it. It's so nice. You don't have to actually write the JavaScript with it. It's just this nice little shorthand for really basic, intuitive things. So we're going to, actually I have that reversed. 1993 we want to show. We're going to fade it in. And 2000 we're going to fade out. And we're going to do them both slowly. And if it's not 1993, it's really going to, there's only one other option, so I'm just going to say if or else. And if it's not 1993, then obviously it's 2000, so we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to reverse the labels here. So this is 2000 that's fading in, and 1993 that's fading out. And that's pretty cool right there. That's a lot of stuff, and it's not a lot of code, and you're going to see in a second how cool it is. Oh, slow does not work. Slow has to be in quotes. Slow has to be in quotes. Slow is a parameter that you can actually pass to fade in and fade out. You can also pass a number value. Number values for timing are in thousands, so 1000 equals 1 second. If we put 500 in there, it would be half a second. For slow is, I don't know what the actual value of it is, but, oh, hey, look at this, 1993, 2000, wow, right? This is pretty cool. We are hiding and showing two divs at the same time. They are crossing each other like ships in the night. They are fading out from 0% opacity to 100% opacity. They cross over at 50%. They are both briefly 50% visible, and then they pass each other. 100 becomes 0, the 0 becomes 100. Pretty cool, right? So this, folks, this is something that you really could use for all sorts of stuff, and really, I do use this for all sorts of stuff on a regular basis. If you have multiple kinds of content that you want to show in the same space, you could use the same functionality to do something like actually set up a slideshow, so that you could imagine that there were 5 or 6 or 7 buttons across the bottom here, or you could have an arrow where you were incrementing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, show an array of photos. So yeah, really simple, right? I'm going to do a couple of other real quick, just kind of styly things here because I've got 5 minutes left on the video. First one is I'm going to access, the buttons are kind of bothering me, right? Because they're both just gray. And we want these buttons to kind of serve as a label in addition to just being, we want to know which one's active. So let's go in and create a way to do that. So when we click on a button, remember all of this stuff is happening whenever you click on any button. And it just, we've written a little bit of logic that says, depending on which button we've clicked, do one of two things. Well, we also want to, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use this again. So this, on this button, whatever button we've clicked on, we want to add class. And this class is going to be called navActive. Again, I do this in almost every project. There's some version of navActive, or there's always some function called setNav. These are things that you do over and over again, kind of regardless of whatever project you happen to be working on. So that's a class. It has we're going to associate some styles with it so that we can change it from a light gray to something else. In this case, we're going to go in and instead of this light gray, we're going to change the color to red, and the border as well, we're going to change from 1 pixel solid gray to 1 pixel solid red. And let's jump back over here and see what that does. So they're both gray. When we click on it, there you go. 1993 is nice and active, and then if we click over to 2000, it's nice and active. But, oh no, now they're both active, which, that serves no purpose now because we still can't tell which one's which because now they're just both red. So let's fix that. That's real simple to do. And the way you do it is just one of these like, oh, of course, that's dumb and simple, but this is just as good a way as any to do it. It's one of those things, there's probably a couple different ways you could approach something like this, but my way to do it is that I just turn them all off first and then turn one of them on. So let me show you what I mean. Button class selector. So everything that is button, we're going to remove class navActive. So even if it doesn't have navActive, we're just covering our bases. Everything that happens to have navActive, we're going to remove the class. But we're only going to add the class to the one that we've just clicked on. See where I'm getting? So click over here now, we have 1993. Then when we click here, we're going to remove the class from all buttons. We're going to remove navActive from all buttons, but we're going to apply it to the one that we click on, which gives you this really seamless, nice effect of giving you this nice active button, right? One little thing here. Notice that when we load the page, neither of them are active, but of course we're seeing an image. So the image that we're seeing is 2000, but that's only because we're adding it second. But let's be really specific about how we want to set that up. And I'll just go ahead and I guess we'll just do it in setNav since we're just kind of initializing the document anyway. And what I'm going to do is just really blatantly apply a couple of styles here so that one thing is happening when the page loads. And that is that we're going to make 1993 active and 2000 will be hidden. So in this case, 1993, we don't really want to fade out because we don't really want to see it. So we're just going to say hide, which is another way of saying, well, just do it without any kind of timing associated with it. It's just going to be on or it's going to be off. So let's see, 1993 should actually be 1993 show, and 2000 is the one we want to hide. So when we load the page, we're going to get this nice, boom, there's 2000, and, or there's rather 1993. So when we click 1993, we're going to show it, but it's already shown. And then one other thing we're going to do here, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to just add navActive to 2000. So, let's see, button Oh, I didn't add an ID to that, so we'll just say, well, you know what we'll do? We'll just do nav active.